Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday, September 17th. The remnants of Florence will impact the mid-Atlantic region today, tonight, and tomorrow as it loops back to the north and east. It'll finally exit the northeast U.S. coastline by late tomorrow night or early Wednesday morning. It'll kind of get wrapped up with a frontal system as well. Then we'll have some nice weather around here for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But for today and tonight and tomorrow, there can be some heavy rain, maybe even some strong thunderstorms in the I-95 corridor region as the remnants of Florence pass on by. Here's the latest satellite imagery loop, and we have basically the center of what remains of Florence now over the southern part of West Virginia. It will gradually turn to the north and east and accelerate and finally move off the northeast U.S. coastline by late tomorrow night, early Wednesday morning. Again, it'll be kind of wrapped up with a frontal system, so that front will pass on through the I-95 corridor on Tuesday night. Lots of activity associated with these cloud bands right now, including some heavy thunderstorms. And as is always the case with the remains of a tropical system, there could be some isolated tornadoes associated with some severe thunderstorms just to the right of the track. So in this case, that'll put it mainly just to the west side of the I-95 corridor, that threat for some isolated tornadoes later today and perhaps again later tomorrow as that front combines with the remains and pushes through the I-95 corridor. But a lot of rain to go through here in D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City from the remnants of Tropical Storm Florence. Of course, there was a hurricane, and it did pile up some tremendous rainfall amounts, especially in North Carolina, where some reports of more than 30 inches of rain are coming in now. And, of course, we'll tally up all of this over the next several days. But, again, tremendous rainfall from Florence in the Carolinas. Well, here's a look at the current radar, and there is some rain already falling in the D.C. metro region, but you can see these bands of heavier showers and perhaps an embedded thunderstorm or two now pushing into southern part of Virginia. Anytime today there can be some heavy rainfall in the D.C. metro region, maybe some strong thunderstorms. It looks like it arrives in Philadelphia, a metro region, later on this afternoon, probably the mid to late afternoon hours, and probably holds off till nighttime across New York City. Again, the center of what remains of Florence right now over eastern Kentucky, southern part of West Virginia, right in this region right here, and it all gradually moves to the north and east and then kind of accelerates to off the northeast U.S. coastline by late tomorrow night, early Wednesday morning. Well, late last week we talked about how quiet it would become once Florence pushes off the northeast U.S. coastline. Indeed, that'll be the case for the second half of this week and perhaps right through the upcoming weekend. There will be, it looks like, another spurt of tropical activity in the Atlantic Basin late in September or certainly during the month of October. So even though things will quiet down here over the next few days, there will be a resumption of activity, especially as we go into the month of October. First of all, here's the location of remnants of Florence. Again, it moves to the north and east and then kind of accelerates to off the northeast U.S. coastline by late tomorrow night, early Wednesday morning. And it'll kind of merge with a frontal system, so the remains along with a frontal system will pass through the I-95 corridor late Tuesday night. This is what remains of Isaac, not much, and it should completely fall apart over the next day or two. And this is what remains of Joyce, not much there either. That should completely fall apart over the next couple of days. So probably by the middle part of this week, the Atlantic Basin will be perhaps completely quiet, which is very unusual for this time of the tropical season. Again, we just passed the climatological peak in the middle part of September. So yes, we had a lot of activity last week. Looks like very little, if any, activity later this week in the Atlantic Basin. Well, let's walk through the surface forecast maps from last night's 6Z GFS model run. First of all, I want to point out something interesting right here. Way to the north here, we have some snow showing up here across the northern part of Canada. And actually, Canada looks like it'll be very cold over the next 10 days or so. That's quite interesting indeed. It looks like it may take a tropical system to get that cold air down into the eastern part of the U.S. Later in September, certainly during the month of October. But a lot of cold air building up in Canada, and even the production of some snow here represented here by the blues. Now let's get back to the continental U.S., and here is the center of what remains of Florence over northeastern Kentucky, southwestern West Virginia, and again a lot of moisture still associated with it. It dumped tremendous amount of rainfall on North Carolina, and now it is going to spread some heavy rainfall into the Mid-Atlantic region. Let's push through in 6-hour increments. These maps from tropicaltidbits.com, and here we go by this evening. Showers already occurring in D.C. They'll arrive in Philadelphia during the mid to latter part of the afternoon. New York City probably early this evening. And it can be some heavy rainfall at any time and strong thunderstorms at any time. And here we go. By this evening, that center of what remains of Florence over the southern part of Ohio. Let's keep moving forward. And here we go. It kind of tangles up with a frontal system. Here we are by tomorrow afternoon. A frontal system gets kind of merged or combines with the remains of Florence. Can be some strong thunderstorms associated with that frontal system and the remnants of Florence on Tuesday into the early part of Tuesday night. Then once we get by this period here, and here we are late tomorrow night, the remnants push off the northeast U.S. coastline. Very nice weather pushes into the Mid-Atlantic region for the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame. Here we are now to the end of the week, and come Friday we'll be watching a frontal system to our north and west, and it could spark a shower or two Friday night. And then as we get into the weekend, it's a little unclear yet exactly how far south and east that goes. It could stall out in southern or central Virginia, maybe cause some shower activity later in the weekend, or it could clear right through here, provide us with a pretty nice day on Saturday. Certainly from the Mason-Dixon line on north, it looks like it could be a nice day on Saturday. So the remnants of Florence to produce some showers and thunderstorms in the Mid-Atlantic region today, tonight, tomorrow, into the early part of tomorrow night. Any of the rain that falls can be heavy at time, and there can be some strong thunderstorm activity as well. Perhaps even some isolated tornadoes, especially the eastern slope of the Appalachians just west of the I-95 corridor as the remnants of Florence pass on by. By Wednesday, the Atlantic Basin tropical scene will quiet down dramatically, at least for the next several days. Again, that activity could certainly ramp up again late September and during the month of October. That's it for now. For PerspectiveWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.